Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well on this Moyse 24 day. So yes, today we're going to be looking at the Moyse 24 Little Melodic Studies, which is this book here. So if you've got this book, please get out that, and we're going to be doing warm-ups based on number 1. So you can practice all the little exercises I do today, and as a warm-up and as something to help you practice and think about number 1. So it has a dual purpose there. First, I'd like to just do a little bit of a warm-up with the breathing and a little bit of sort of movement, just to get things, get the air moving a bit freer. Hello. So if you bring your arms like this, as if you're in fighting mode, I'll just bring the camera down a bit. So you're like this, and you're going to go this way, but keep looking straight ahead. And then you're going to go this way. So you just do a little twist like this. And on each twist, you're going to blow out quite strongly, so like a good puff of air out. And you don't have to think about breathing, because it will just keep replacing itself. So it's going to be like this. So you keep centered, but you're twisting. Okay, so let's try that together. Just really helps liven up the airstream. Okay, so ready? And if you want to bring your arms out wide, it's a nice stretch. Still breathing. Okay, so you might be able to feel that actually that's sort of just opening up the airways a little bit more. And it's something that I learned from a body mapper in Japan, this thing, which was actually from an exercise video that I used to do when I did exercise. But yeah, getting back into it now. So I think it's a good thing to get you going, and it's not too strenuous. Another one that I like to do is learned this from Eldred Spell, who's in America. He came to do a class at the Academy a few years ago, about 10 years ago, I guess. And basically, you don't have to use your flute for this, but but it's quite a good sort of stick. You could just use a stick. And what you're going to do is bring your flute up above your head, a bit better, and then bring it back here, and then you breathe out as it goes up again, and you bring it in front of you. So it's out, breathe in behind, out, breathe in front. Okay, so we try that. So breathing out, breathe in, breathe out, and then breathe in. Now let's make the breath out longer, and then quickly in, out long, and quickly in, and then build up the tempo a bit. Okay, so that's another little exercise I like to do, and that's about as much as I do for exercise. But once you start playing, after doing that, you'll notice how just easy it is to blow. And so, building on from yesterday, we did some finger exercises on Tafnel and Gober, and this will just get us into the mood of C major for this first study. I want to do the one note above thing. Okay, so D, 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 D. And I'll bring that here so you can see it whilst we're doing it. I've only got the first few notes, but you get the idea. We're just going to do a simple C major scale, not tough, nothing go there. This is top one here. So it's going to go a little bit like. Okay, so let's try that together. All the way up to the C above that one. So up to that one, and then coming down to bottom C. Let's try it together. 1, 2. Okay, good. And then let's just do it even faster. Okay, so that just gets the fingers moving a little bit as well. The next exercise is more connected to the study itself. So if you have a look at number 1, let's just get that. We have this opening phrase. Okay, so what we have is on that second bar an appoggiatura, so we want stress and release. So that's basically doing a diminuendo between those two notes. So let's practice the diminuendo first, but just on one note. So we're going to practice the technique of blowing down and then blowing up as you get softer. So we're going to do a 1 octave scale, going up and coming back down, each one 4 beats, and each one with a diminuendo. So it'll be something like this. Okay, so let's try that together. So ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, so I can call that the R-oo exercise because you're going from an R to an oo. The next part of that, there are lots of repeated notes in number 1. And to practice really good repeated notes, we need to make sure that we do this diminuendo as well, so that the next note is clear. And so let's do, before we start doing the appoggiaturas, let's do some same thing. I don't know if you can see that, but with 2 minims or half notes on each one. So you'll have 2 beats each. So it's the same technique, but you're going to be tonguing as well. So you're going to go do, do, do. Let's try that together. So same thing, whole octave up and down. 1, 2. So it's the same And don't be afraid to give the initial attack of the note some vibrato as well to give it that bell-like quality. So maybe let's do that one more time and count your vibrato, just as a warm-up. It's not something I'd recommend doing musically, but it's quite good to just do it to really feel what you're doing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and make the vibrato wide and then thinner as it gets to the end of the note. So whoa, whoa. Okay, so we'll do 4 vibratos on each. So it'll sound a little bit like something like that. Okay, whoa, 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 whoa. Ready? 1, 2. Okay, so that's something that you can try. How to do vibrato. Yes, I think I did talk about it in one of the videos, but it's basically just a fluctuation of pitch. So you go above the note and below it, and to get that you blow more and less. So if you think without adjusting with your lips, so if you just blow loud, without adjusting, you hear the sharpness and then the flatness. And that's basically what a vibrato is. It's above and below the note. So whoa, 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 it's coming from the stomach here. But have a look at some of the previous videos if you weren't watching those ones, and see. I'll talk about it maybe another time just to recap on that as well. But yeah, you don't have to do it with the vibrato, but that just is another way of thinking about bell tones. Next one is to add the Appoggiatura. So we're going to do this one here. So you have da, da. So it's exactly the same technique of blowing down, but high. You add a finger down as well. So C, and with the fingering, if you can be as light as you can, so that we don't get a bump. So when we move our fingers too abruptly, it can cause a bump in the airstream. So be very smooth with the fingers, keep your fingers close to the keys, and just try to imagine that your flute is like a string instrument. It doesn't have keys, but it's just placing the fingers really gently. So yes, we're going to do from this C, going up to the next C above it. So one note below each time. C, B, D, C. Okay, let's try that. 1, 2. Okay, let's try that one more time. Just that much is enough. So let's do 1, 2. Good, so it's exactly the same, ah-oo, and then the fingers move. So that's really a long way into this study, is just to get that really, really good. Before that, we have the repeated note. This time it's coming from the weak beat to the strong beat. So it's dee dum da dum. So the second of the repeated notes is stronger than the first. So we can practice doing it like that. So it's the same thing as this one, but we add a pickup of a repeated. Dum, dee, dum, da, dum. And as we did with the minims, try not to allow any gap between the repeated notes. So we do a nice coming away, but we don't cut the note off. Okay, so it's going to sound a little bit like. Okay, so let's try that together. Just one octave again. 1, 2. Good, let's do that one more time. So think of the pickup as being like an up bow on the violin. So it's lighter, and then the stress is on the second note. Bum, ba, bum, B. That's up, down, up, like that. Ready? 1. Good, so we've covered almost all of that first 2 bars. So we've got yum ba. Now we just need the first 2 notes as well. Dee, dum, dee, dum. And something that I like to practice, which isn't the notes themselves, but it gives you a little bit of a challenge, is doing it on harmonics. So you go through the harmonics series up to the 3rd one, and then repeat. Bom, 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 yum. So slur there as well. Okay, so I will put that on the stand so you can see that. So if we start on a low D, it would sound like. Let's try that just on the D for now. Ready? 1, 2. So if we can make loud, softer, softer, loud, softer. Okay, so we've got that general structure. Because it's in 4/4, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try that again on low D. 1. Okay, now let's go up to E flat. So you're just going to keep all the fingers down for E flat, and just do the harmonics. One more time. Okay, and then E natural. So when I'm doing that, I've quite like to think of my air in front of me. And so it's going to be down, up, up, down, up. So I pick a point on the wall in front of me and I push my air to those points, depending on the dynamic. So loud, softer, softer, loud, softer. Let's just try that again on E and just visualize where your air is going in front of you. Okay, so maybe that helps. I think it helped me. Let's try it on F. One more time. F sharp. And last one, G. Good, so just a couple of points whilst you're doing that. Careful not to allow the top note to spring out, so don't blow louder. Don't blow harder because it's harder to get the harmonic. Try to aim the air up more and increase the air speed, but don't blow harder. That's one point. And with the repeated notes at the top, make sure they're all connected so we don't get we don't lift the bow off and then place, but keep the connection of the sound. And we get this a lot, not just in Moyse No.1, but we get repeated notes in all music. For example, we've got that in the Saint-Saëns Romance. It's very similar to No.1. And if you look at a piece of music that you're working on, you will now probably notice so many repeated notes that you might not have seen before. So it's a really good exercise to practice doing really clear repeated notes without cutting the sound. Okay, so let's actually look at No.1 with all those ideas in mind. So we've got the idea of the meter, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got repeated notes, and we've got diminuendos for the Appoggiaturas. The next thing to think about with all of that is that the phrases build up. So he starts pianissimo, the second phrase is piano, and then the third phrase is mezzo forte, and it's a longer phrase. So there's that feeling of building up phrases as well. So start a little quieter, but keep showing the meter as well. Let's have a go then at number 1. If you don't have the music, I'll put it here so you can play along. I can remember how it goes. Right, so let's think 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Good. So that's the number 1. With the variation, it's all repeated notes. So having done all of the work we did for this one, this will actually feel quite manageable because we know how to do repeated notes. So it's good way of practicing it is again with the vibrato, just to whoa, 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 whoa. Not thinking about the tongue at the moment, but getting the little pulse from the stomach. So let's try the variation, just a couple of phrases as vibratos, no tongue. Let's try that. So you connect all of them like this. Let's try that. Okay, so a very slow vibrato. Okay, so all we have to do now is add a gentle tongue to the beginning of each da, 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 da. And to correct the pitch, we have to do a slight movement, do, 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 but still with that feeling from the stomach that we got with the vibrato. Okay, so it'll be so we don't want to let the pitch drop as we do those repeated notes. So let's just do a couple of phrases now with the tongue. Okay, so you can practice the whole study like that as well. And I did it slow there, but just gradually build up to the tempo of the main melody there. So the variation, you want to keep that melody in your mind as you're playing it, but it's working on all those repeated notes as well. So I hope that gives you some ideas. Even if you don't have the Moyse studies, I do recommend getting them, but if you don't have them, those warm-ups should help you anyway. So I hope that's useful. Next, tomorrow is going to be the last one for this week, and I'm going to do a little warm-up on syrinx, based on syrinx, and answer any questions that you have. So maybe if there aren't any other questions, we'll try and deal with vibrato again, or any other questions as well. So I'll leave a good chunk of time to answer those. So leave a comment or in the chat, and that would be helpful. Okay, so see you tomorrow.